everybody. Recording live from somewhere.
What up, everybody? It's me, your boy M.O.I, and a lot of y'all just hopped off another exciting episode, maybe like 5 minutes ago, and we back at y'all. We're back on it. We're gonna get a room time to populate real quick. Thank y'all for tuning in for tonight's episode. Don't it feel good when y'all can just hop off one live and get some more information? And it's a whole pot of information. Crumb TV Network, man. Like, this is how it's going to be. It's like back to back, nonstop. It's crazy up in here, man. And of course, I had to bring the big homie on here with me, man. Peace and love, brother.
Peace and love, brother. Thank you so much for having me. I think this is my first time. Oh, no. I'm sorry. This is the first time in a long time that, we've done it like this. I'm excited. Thank you.
For sure. And of course, in true fashion, I know Crumb does the first responders, whatever. I like to shout everybody out. They hop on here within the first minute. We're going live. Like, we're like really late in the first couple seconds. So she's always here, bro. Like, as soon as I post it, she's here. She's ready. Brother Lamont Sanders, what's up, brother? It's another good brother, one of my Masonic brothers. Another good brother right here, always tapping in, checking in with me as well. Chris G, always here. Pen and pad. See, that's what I love about my disciples, man. They already know what time it is. And the whole time they got their pen and their pad. They come on. They ready to rock and roll. Islam Moore, peace and love. Malik Day. Cash Jackson, peace. Saying peace back to you. Peace and love, peace and light to all y'all. Looking forward to. Hey, listen, I think it's your first time over here. Number one superstar. I haven't seen you in the chat before, but welcome. Nevertheless, welcome. Passion Divine, all in the chat. Appreciate it. She called me chef. Appreciate it. Or he, I'm sorry. She, hopefully, called me chef. Solo, that might be your end, Solo. Crowded, we got sound?
Yeah, it sounds good to me.
Yeah, we got sound, Solo. I don't know. That might be you. Anybody saying? I mean, if everybody that's got sound, if you got sound, drop a 1 in the comment box if you got sound. Sound good. Everybody saying sound good. Yeah, Solo, that might be you on your end. It's about that time. Hero, let's go. Hero Anunnaki in the building. Man, they be giving me hype, boy. They be ready over here, man. They be ready. Everybody in the chat, be ready to learn, man. This makes it so easy. All of y'all, man. Peace and light. All right, so without any further ado, we're going to jump right in, brother. Dealing with this Moses cat, man. I was doing some reading, and I just happened to come across a lot of information that did not really make sense to me about Moses. The fact that he was up at this magical mountain dealing with this mystic deity. And Moses, of course, is a credit for bringing the children out of Israel, they say. If for those of y'all don't know the entire Moses story, Moses was found in a reed basket. He was placed in this basket, and the basket went upriver. It says up the Nile River. Let's take a look at this journey that Moses had real quick. Give me a second, fam. I'm gonna pull up the this river ride that Moses had. Moses had a nice little river ride. So this is the Nile River. And for those of y'all who don't know, you have two. You have the White Nile and the Blue Nile, right? But the Bible goes that Moses was put in the Nile River, and he was found way up here in Egypt. Now Egypt is up here. The thing about the Nile River, in case you didn't know, family, the Nile River flows up. It doesn't flow down. The river flows up. And the question I asked myself, I said, well, where was Moses placed in the river? Was it in the South Sudan? Was it in Ethiopia? Was it in the Sudan? Was he Ethiopian? Was he Eritrean? What was Moses' nationality? That he came from down this way and came up this way. So we know off the black, no point intended, off the back, that Moses had to be a brother. Off the rip, we know that the young Moses had to be a brother. Now, when we get into the idea that Moses was really Thutmose and, this is Egyptian name, all that stuff, we can get into all that stuff. But tonight, I just want to let the Bible show us these things. And y'all know me. Let's allow the book to teach us. Let the book teach us. So we're gonna reference the book. I also have a couple other articles as well that we'll be sharing throughout this evening. So again, of course, get your pen and your paper. Let's take some notes. I want Brother Crom to definitely ask questions and add value, because I know we've talked about this a couple of different times in a couple of different ways. But this time, I was led to take a look at the other prophets who also went up to this mountain, or to a mountain, period. And the name of the mountain, the particular name of the mountain, became interesting to me. So I want to show you guys again where we are, the location. See that? It's the White and the Blue Nile. We're in the Sudan. We're in Africa, in case you're confused right now. I know. In case anybody's confused, we are in Africa. That little piece of land right here, guess what? That's Africa too. Yes, this is Africa. This is Africa. This is Africa. Well, now, man, that's really the Middle East. That's Saudi Arabia. This shit is literally attached to Africa. This was a man-made waterway right here. That's a man-made waterway right here. This is Africa, y'all. The Reed Sea or the Red Sea is a part of Africa. This is all part of Africa. Let's try it this way, because I know for some people it may be confusing to see a piece of land sticking out from Africa, and we know it as the Middle East. Let's try it this way then. Watch this. Madagascar. I'm gonna go to maps. This is Madagascar. This is Africa. Madagascar is a part of Africa. It's not even fucking attached to Africa. Madagascar is a part of Africa. It's not even attached to Africa. Check. Everybody got that? This is attached to Africa, and you think this is not Africa. In fact, because this is attached to Africa, this makes this Africa, and this makes this Africa, and this is Africa, and this is Africa, and this is Africa. In fact, before it was called Africa, because we all know that it wasn't called Africa at one point, this is all called Asia. This is called Asia to this day. This is Asia. This is all Asia. Watch this. Watch this. All of this is Asia. But no, I mean, that's Russia. And this is Asia. This is all Asia. Asia. This is called Eurasia or Europa. You call it Europa or Europe. This is called Asia Minor, the Little Asia.
Right teach.
This is all Little Asia. Look at that. This is Russia, by the way. This is America. See how close we are?
Right.
See how they fucking with y'all? But y'all keep looking this way, thinking that Russia's way on the other side of the world. No, it's right here off your back porch. Right there. Anyway, let's dive in and deal with Moses. Let's go to Exodus 14, 1 through 2. Child sacrifice. And I wanted to start here because we're going to deal with a particular deity that Moses made a covenant to. And I'm going to show you in the Bible. It's a couple of different deities. The word Baal, I know the whole Balenciaga thing popping off. Everybody familiar with the word Baal? Baal. Okay. Baal. The word Baal means Lord. In some instances, it also refers to a deity or a god. Exodus 14:1 to 2, the Lord. Remember, Lord is synonymous with the word Baal. So this could actually say, then the Baal said to Moses, order the Israelites to turn back and camp by Pi Hathara between Migdal and the sea. Camp there along the shores of Baal Zaphon. This is the Lord sending Moses to Baal. It's a couple of different Baals, though. So this is Exodus 14:1. Let's talk about what Baal is. A Baal. The Ugaritic cycle of the stories about the Canaanite god Baal, which means owner or Lord, a storm god. Keep that in mind. Keep the fact that this is a storm god. That's going to come in handy once we deal with Moses and Moses go over to the mountain. So keep in mind that Baal is a storm god. The Bible said that he met Baal Zephon. Hope I'm saying that right. Exodus 14:2 and 9, Numbers 33:7. The name means Lord of the North. In the place the opposite, the Hebrews camp, which was between Migdal and the sea. It may have been the shrine of a Semitic deity, but the position is unknown. It says to see Exodus. Goodwin says see Birch is giving you the references. Found the name Baal Zepana as the god mentioned in the Egyptian papyrus in the British Museum. This is another Baal. This Baal is the Lord of the winter. These are all Baals. Let's go to Exodus 34:5. Exodus 34:5 said, and the Lord descended in the cloud and stood with him, talking about Moses. And with him there were proclaimed the name of the Lord. The storm god came down in the cloud. Exodus 34:5. Exodus 14:1. Write this down. Then the Lord. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I'll read this one. Exodus 14:1.
Yeah.
Then the Lord said to Moses, tell the Israelites to turn back and encamp before Pi-hahithroth, between Migdal and the sea. You are to encamp by the sea directly opposite Baal Zephon.
Moses is being sent to worship this deity, but more important, what I'm trying to pull up real quick is the actual scripture so we can actually read it. Here we go. Bam. Now we're going to Numbers 25.
Numbers 25. While the Israelites were camped at Acacia, some of the men had sex with Moabite women. These women then invited the men to ceremonies. These women then invited the men to ceremonies where sacrifices were offered to their gods. The men ate the meat from the sacrifices and worshipped the Moabite gods.
Now, the Moabite gods is not Baal. That's not Baal. I'm gonna show you who the Moabites worship. So now we have the Canaanites, the Israelites, and the Moabites. Moabite God. Oh shit, hold on. I think I spelled that right. This is the god of the Moabites right here. Shamash. Shamash.
Shamash, Britannica.com. Ancient West Semitic deity, revered by the Moabites as their supreme god. Little was known about Shamash, although King Solomon of Israel built a sanctuary to him east of Jerusalem, according to the first book of Kings, chapter 11, verse 7. The shrine was later demolished by King Hosea, according to 2 Kings, chapter 23, verse 13.
So now we have the god of the Moabites is Shamash. That is not the same deity that we're dealing with right here, named Baal, because he has another name, right? 3, I read 3. The Lord was angry with Israel because they had worshiped the god who? Baal
Baal.
Peor. That's another god. Keep up. That's 3. Israelites. That's 3. That's 3 deities we're talking about now. Baal, what's his name? Baal Zippor we talked about earlier.
Right, like Zaphon. Oh yeah, there it is. Baal Zaphon.
So Baal Zaphon, write him down. Exodus 14:1. Then go to Numbers 25:3. This is a whole other deity. And this is a whole nother one talking about the fact that they're worshiping this one. Now you're going to find out when it says God is a jealous God. You're going to find out what is being meant by that. It's a jealous God. So he said to Moses, take the Israelite leaders who are responsible for this and have them killed. This is God telling Moses what to do with the disobedient Israelites. And this is Numbers 25. This is not going back when Moses saw the Israelites worshiping the bull calf. This is a whole other situation. Now more Israelites are about to get slaughtered, or a Holocaust is about to happen, which is a sacrifice. It's about to happen. So he said to Moses, take the Israelite leaders who are responsible for this and have them killed in front of my sacred tent where everyone can see. Maybe then I will stop being angry with the Israelites. Moses told the Israel's officials, each of you must put to death any of your men who worship Baal. Later, Moses and his people were at the sacred tent crying when one of the Israelite men brought a Midianite woman to meet his family. Phinehas, a grandson of Aaron, the priest saw the couple and left the crowd. He found a spear, and followed the man into his tent, where he ran the spear through the man into the woman's stomach, killed both of them. The Lord immediately stopped punishing Israel with deadly diseases. So when the Israelites say that God put the diseases on the Egyptians, their ass got some of that shit too. So what I'm gonna point out, and this is really going towards people to understand the polemic of the Bible, because we coming out of scripture. I'm dealing with Moses, but when we deal with Moses, we deal with the Israelites community. Okay, we also deal with anybody that's an Abrahamic believer. We're dealing with this right here, and this is not what I'm adding to the scripture. This is coming out of the book. I want you guys to know and understand the story. But 24,000 Israelites had already died. That's the number. That is an official Holocaust. This is the first Holocaust for Jews.
Teach.
First Jewish Holocaust. This is what it is. And I can show you what the word means itself. So we're not playing semantics with the algorithms. What does Holocaust mean?
Historical. A sacrifice in which the offering was burned completely on an altar.
This is the first thing that Noah did. Watch this. The first thing that watch this now. Watch this. What is the first thing that Noah did for God? The first.
The first thing Noah does after leaving the ark is look for a place of worship, thanks God, and worships him with his family. And Noah built an altar to the Lord. He offered a burnt offering on the altar, according to the book of Genesis, chapter 8, verse 20.
Now, this is the same thing that later that Moses is going to be asked to do. Okay, and Moses is going to smear blood. I'm going to show you. Moses is going to smear blood on the altar for this deity, right? Now, we're going to also find that somebody's going to be asked to sacrifice their son in the same manner.
Teach.
This is to the god Baal. Watch this. Stay with me, family. Ain't no need to be in a hurry tonight. I want everybody to really get this information. The Lord said to Moses, and we're still reading from Numbers 25, chapter 25. Chapter 25. The Lord said to Moses, in my anger, I would have wiped out the Israelites. He would have wiped their ass off the planet. Now, my question is, does God repent? Or can God repent? We'll find out in a second. But remember the fact, and this is Numbers. I'm going to go back to Exodus. I'm going to go back to Exodus and some other chapters and show you where Moses first had the encounter with this deity Baal and the conversation that took place between the deity of Baal. Even I'm going to show you about the 10 commandments, which were not 10 commandments. They were the 42 negative confessions of M.O.I. That Moses broke the first 2 tablets that God, air quotes, that God had wrote with his hand, and Moses had to rewrite it with his hand, but he could remember all 42, so he only remembered 10 of them. I'm going to show you that. I'm going to show you, because you remember now, the commandments were, thou shalt not kill. It's 4 words. So let's think about it this way. You have 2 stone tablets. You could put 5 sentences on both tablets down, 5 sentences each equals 10. Watch when the scriptures say God wrote on both sides of the tablets. Both sides were written. Only 10 commandments on both sides does not make. I'm going to show y'all this shit. I'm going to show you this shit. I'm going to walk you through it slowly, but I have to set it up first. Let's go to 16. The Lord told Moses, the Midianites are now enemies of Israel, so attack and defeat them. They tricked the people of Israel into worshiping their god Peor. This is the Israelites worshiping the god Peor, and God has a wrath against them, and God is killing the Israelites. He hadn't touched the Moabites because he can't go up against Shammah. Baal can't go up against Shammah, which is the god of the Moabites. This is the Moabite deity. And why am I talking about the Moabites? Because remember in the beginning what the Israelites were doing. They were camped here and they was having sex with Moabite women. Ruth is a Moabite woman. Who are the Moabites? The Moabites are the generations after their father Lot and his daughters made Moab. Moab was his son. So the descendants of Moab, which is the descendants of incest, these are these people. And we know about the Canaanites already. The Canaanites are the sons of Ham. The sons of Ham are the Canaanites. With the Canaanites, the Moabites, and they mentioned down here who the enemies became, the Midianites. These are all cousins. So don't freak out. Don't worry about trying to remember everybody. These are all the same family. These are all the same people. I promise you, the same people. All right. Now let's go into Exodus and deal with Moses real quick. And I'm going to introduce you to how Moses met this deity, but we're going to talk about the mountain that they were on too.
I want to point something out real quick, if
Please.
I could.
Please, man.
Family, when the minister gave you that story, I just wanted to kind of add value. According to biblical narrative, the first
EJ, come on, man.
set of tablets inscribed by the finger of God, according to Exodus chapter 31, verse 18, were smashed by Moses when he was enraged by the sight of the children of Israel worshiping a golden calf. Let's just call it what it is, Hathor. But anyway, according to Exodus chapter 32, verse 19. And the second were later chiseled out by Moses and rewritten, of course, by God. Exodus 34, chapter 34, verse 1. I'm sorry. I think you gotta unmute your mic.
All right. So now, family, let's set the plot. I'm gonna set the plot, give you a little bit of narrative, and then I'm gonna wrap it up. I promise you. But we have to go through this whole thing because I got like 8 tabs open that I have to draw correlating points to. Just stay with me. All right. This is Exodus 3. We was just in Numbers. It's Exodus 3. One day, Moses was taking care of the sheep and the goat of his father-in-law, Jethro, the priest of Midian. We just saw the Midianites. Remember that. And Moses decided to lead them across the desert into Sinai. Now, this is called Sinai, but the short for the word Sinai is also Mount Sin. I just seen that. Okay, my bad. So this is Moses' first time going, not first time, but this is first time going into this region. But remember Mount Sinai. Remember Mount Sinai. Remember Mount Sin. Mount Sin, Mount Sinai are the same mountains. Watch this. Hold on. There we go. I'm going to show you who resides at the top of Mount Sin. Now, we're only talking about one mountain. We're talking about Moses going to the mountain. I'm going to show you where Jesus went to this mountain. I'm going to show you where Rasulullah Muhammad wa alayhi salam, he went to this mountain. I'm going to show you where, what's his name? Not Ezekiel, Elijah went to this mountain, right? Now, I'm going to take you back and show you about these deities who were dealing with Nimrod came down from this mountain. Please.
Also, Akhenaten went to that mountain too as well. Tap in.
Come on now. Come on now. Come on now. So we're talking about Mount Sinai. Hold on. Mount Sinai. Mount Sinai was wrapped in smoke, clouds. Remember, that's the storm god. They're calling it smoke, but it's actually clouds. The storm god, Baal. This is the storm god. Now, Mount Sinai was wrapped in clouds because Baal had descended on it in fire. It was not fire; it was a bright light. Now, as I'm telling you this, remember the key points because I'm going to show you somebody else is going to go to the same mountain and is going to appear to be on fire or in a bright light, it says. His skin was like burnished brass. Burnished brass is not black, family. Burnished brass, when it gets hot, it glows. That's why they made the reference to saying Jesus or whomever they were referring to, skin is like burnished brass. Because brass, when it gets super hot, it glows, it illuminates. So don't let the word fire throw you off. Think of a bright light. Because when the deity appeared in this smoke, it's not really smoke, it's clouds. Even when a volcano erupts, it creates clouds. It does not create smoke, clouds. Now, Mount Sinai was wrapped in smoke or clouds because the Lord, Baal, had descended upon it in light or fire. The smoke of it went up like the smoke of a kennel, and the whole mountain trembled greatly. And as the sound of the trumpet grew louder and louder, Moses spoke, and God answered him in thunder. Because remember who he is. Baal is the storm god associated with fertility. That's who he is. Check.
Check.
Everybody with me? All right. So Baal is the storm god. The text identifies Baal as Baal Hadad. Baal Hadad. This is the Baal of the god that Moses went to go see. I'm going to back it up. I just want to build my case gradually so you guys can see the names and associations. Who the storm deity who appeared to Moses in this cloud talking through thunder, because he's the storm deity. Talking was a storm and rain god, thunderstorm, thunder, lightning, clouds, a rain god of the Canaanite and ancient Mesopotamia region. That's where Moses went to. Moses is now talking to the Canaanite god. Meanwhile, the Israelites are having sex with the Moabites, who are worshiping who? Shamash, the other deity. Right?
Right.
This is the mountain of the gods. What mountain are we talking about? We're still talking about Mount Sin. We're talking about Mount Sinai. Where's it at? Mount Sinai, also known as Mount Sin. Nana Sin. In the Aramaic, Moon or Nanar was the god of, this is another god, 4. I'm giving you 4. This is 4. I'm gonna keep going with the deities, okay? Write them down. This is Nana Sin. Nanar was the god of the moon. Remember the god of the moon. This is why most of the religions in that area, on their flag, they have the crescent moon, because this is their deity. We're talking about everybody that believe in El Islam. They worship the moon. These are the moon worshipers. Moses is coming out of ancient Egypt of dealing with the sun worshipers, because Moses comes from Egypt. Remember? In the Bible, watch this, because I don't want to see how M.O.I making up shit. I was just listen. Moses was learned in all the ways of the Egyptian. I got to get my sound right. Moses was learned in all the ways of the Egyptians. This is Acts 7:22.
New International Version.
Huh?
Moses was educated in all the wisdom of the Egyptians.
Stop right there, brother. Hold on. Now, what does the word all mean? That means some of it. That mean a little bit. How much was Moses learned of the Egyptians? All. Continue.
Moses was educated in all the wisdom of the Egyptians and was powerful in speech and action. Acts 7:22.
All right. Moses was educated in all the wisdom of the Egyptians. Family, I need you to tap in with me real quick. That means Moses knew the Metaneter. It means Moses knew the hieratic and demotic form of writing. It means Moses knew the hieroglyphics. That means Moses knew who Gab, Shu, Tefnut, Ma'at. He knew who everybody was. Moses was very familiar with all the deities, all of the wisdom of Egypt, all of it. Anything you can think of: Dozier, Step Pyramid, Tutankhamun, Amun-Ra, Atan, Amun. Moses knew all of them. All of them. It said educated in all the wisdom. Wisdom's another word for knowledge. He was learned in all the knowledge of the Egyptians and was powerful in speech and action. Now we know that's a lie, because Moses had a stuttering problems. Aaron taught for Moses a lot of the time because he had a speech impediment. All right?
Right.
I wanted to point that out. Let's go back to Mount Sin. Now, Mount Sin is the mountain, I'm going to show you in a second, the mountain that Moses went to. He was told to go camp out at the mountain, cross the desert into the Sinai, in the holy what?
Mountain.
Mountain.
That's in the Bible?
Sinai. This is Exodus 3. And I'm going to compare my notes. This is how you study. This is how you gain information, by cross-referencing information. This is the Bible. Exodus 3 talks about Mount Sinai or Mount Sin. Mount Sinai and Mount Sin are synonymous, but the deities at the top of Mount Sin were called Nana Sin. Now, the Nana Sin were different deities from ancient Egypt deities. Moses has now crossed over. Let's go to the map because I can't do this without a map. Map of ancient Egypt. Let's do it like we're in school. And I'm not being funny for nobody. I just want to show y'all. Right? Moses came from here and went here. Moses never left Egypt. But yeah, he crossed the Red Sea. He went into where? Back into Egypt. This is Egypt. You know how they show you the Roman Empire took about because this is all Egypt. This is all Egypt. This is Heliopolis. Heliopolis is a place where Joseph, son of who? Jacob, met his wife and gave birth to his two sons, right? Ephraim and Manasseh. And Ephraim and Manasseh was both what? Egyptian and what else? Israelite. So I want the Israelites to come on here talking anything. Please come help us out with this conversation. Help me understand why I don't like it. Why don't the Hebrew Israelites rock with the Egyptians? In fact, it was the Egyptians who saved Israel because Israel had to leave the land because of famine, and Israel and his sons came back to who? Joseph, and Joseph gave them a parcel of land in Egypt, and Israel had to thank Pharaoh for saving him. So I'll show you in the Bible. The Israelite bloodline was saved by Pharaoh, and I can show you that. Let's get back to this. Moses never left Egypt. This is the same tectonic plate. Okay? The same tectonic plate. It's not the Middle East. What you get is there's different deities in this land over here. Similar, the same. This mountain region right here, where it go? This mountain region, Sinai Peninsula, they call it, or the Mesopotamia, same area, right? You have different deities because the Canaanites and the Mennonites and the Jebusites and the Moabites rock differently. Now, the Israelites coming out of Egypt, supposedly being led by Moses, have never been introduced to this type of religion. That's why Moses has to go to the top of the mountain. I'm going to show you in a minute in the scriptures. He has to make a covenant with this deity. He has to make a sacrifice. He first brings up the Levitical priests with him, but they can only go a certain level of the mountain. They can't come up there where Moses is at. And Moses brings Aaron up there with him. You see what I'm saying? Moses never sees God. In fact, when Moses came to the presence of God, Moses prostrated and bowed down to him. He never saw his face. And I'm going to show you, God said, you would never see my face. I will place you on the edge of this mountain. As I leave you, I will cover your eyes with my hand. You see my backside. That's what he said to Moses. You would never see my face. So Moses never really seen what this deity looked like. But the point I'm showing you is at the top of this mountain, there are multiple deities up here. And I've showed you 4 already. I pointed out. Now I'm dealing with this deity called Nana Sin. Watch this. The 2 chief seats of his worship were where? Watch this. Watch this. Keep up. Pay attention. Where was Abraham from?
Ur of Chaldees. Ur of the Chaldees.
The 2 chief seats of his worship. Who is his worship? Him. Who? He. Ninar, god of the moon. The 2 chief seats of his worship was in Ur, from which who is from Ur? Abraham. I told y'all I'm gonna show you how these niggas was rocking with the same deity. And Abraham had to make another covenant with another deity. And this deity said, I will multiply your seeds in amongst the stars. Oh, Father Abraham had many sons. Yeah, that was under different deities. And a different deity came to see him and his wife, and she was old and gave birth to who? Isaac. That's how Isaac got here. Man, stay with me. Go ahead, bro, please.
I just wanted to mention, even according to the historical account of so-called Jewish people, they said at this time they weren't monotheistic. It was still polytheistic. That's why at the end of their prayers they don't say Elohim or whatever the case may be. They say
This
they
is
don't say
facts.
Yahshua at the end of their prayers.
This is facts. This is facts. But the entire bloodline, family, the entire bloodline, Moses, Ishmael, Tahar, this is the father of Noah. Nohar is the father of Abraham through his brother Terah. See, I don't get the whole bloodline. I did the whole bloodline. And see, from Methuselah made a covenant with God to break the curse of Adam through Noah. Noah broke the curse of Adam. The curse of Adam is working by the sweat of your brow, and so forth. Well, Methuselah had a brother named Ner, N-I-R. Watch this. Watch this. I'm gonna show you Ner. It's Ner. Right here. Thank you for coming up when I needed it. There's a story of a man named Ner. Behold, the wife of Ner, whose name was Saphan, being sterile, never having the time to give birth. Sounds like Jesus. Watch this. Never having time to give birth. They thought she was sterile like Sarah and Abraham. This is the same story of everybody. Watch this. So Sophia was in the middle of her old age, like Sarah. She was 92 when she had Isaac. In the day of her death, she conceived in her womb, but Ner the priest had not slept with her. Joseph had not slept with Mary from the day that the Lord had appointed him to conduct preach in front of his face of his people. When Sophia saw her pregnancy, she was ashamed and embarrassed like Mary. And she hid herself all the days like Mary until she gave birth. Not one of the people knew about it. When 282 days had completed, the day of her birth had begun and approached near. It's near Methuselah, Noah. This is the Levitical. No, I'm sorry. It's not the Levitical priesthood. Not yet. He's not the Levites yet. I say Levitical. This is another priesthood. This is the priesthood that Jesus came after. Watch this. I'm going to show you that too. I prove it. Ner, remember, his wife had called to himself to his house so he may talk to her. Sophia came to Ner, her husband, and behold, she was pregnant. And the day appointed for giving birth was drawing near. Ner saw her and became very ashamed. This is why Joseph was going to leave Mary, but decided not to. Gabriel had convinced him not to go anywhere. Jibrael being the real father, but that's why Jibrael told Joseph and Mary, take him into Egypt until I call you out. Not until God call you out, until I call you out. Then you can bring him out when I say so. But anyway, watch this. Why have you disgraced me in front of the face of the people? Now depart from me. This is Ner talking to his wife. I'm going to keep going. Sophia spoke to her husband Ner, saying, "Oh, my Lord, behold, it is time my old age, and the day of my death has arrived." She's about to die. This is the same thing that happened to Jacob and Rachel. Rachel was on her deathbed giving birth to Benjamin. She said, call him Ben-On, son of my God, On. And right. Jacob rushed in and changed his name to Benjamin. Same story happening right here. Pay attention to the story. And for the second time, he said to her, depart from me, or else I might assault you. Bitch, get out of my face. It ain't my baby. Get out of here. This is the priest Ner talking. And it came to pass, Ner had spoken to his wife, Sophie, that Sophie fell down at his feet and died. Ner was extremely distressed. And watch this, y'all. Pay attention. Said her heart could have this happen to me because of my word. And now merciful and eternal Lord, because my hands not upon her. The archangel who showed up again, y'all? Gabriel. The archangel who?
Gabriel.
Always showing up. We need to put Gabriel on Murray. The archangel Gabriel appeared to Ner and said to him, do not think that your wife Sophia has died because of your error, but this child, which is to be born of her is righteous fruit, Jesus, and one whom I shall receive into paradise, so that you will not be the father of God's gift. Watch this. Open the door. His brother came with him. Who's his brother? Noah. Built the ark. It's a whole new story to Noah. Watch this now. Ner goes to get Noah. They're both the sons of Methuselah. These Methuselah boys. Watch this now. His brother reported to him everything that happened in connection with his wife. Noah hurried to the room. His brother, in the appearance of his brother's wife, was death in her womb at the time of giving birth. Noah said to Ner, do not let yourself be sorrowful, my brother, for the Lord has covered up your scandal, and nobody from these people will know. So now they covered up a murder, pretty much. This is what happened in the story. I want to show y'all something real quick. Watch this. When they had gone towards the grave, a child came from the dead Sophia and sat on the bed, her bedside. Noah and Ner came to bury Sophia and saw the child sitting beside the dead Sophia, wrapped up in his clothing. Noah and Ner was very terrified in great fear because the child was fully developed physically. He spoke with lips and he blessed the Lord.
Stop.
How did a baby fell out of a dead woman? Watch who the baby is. Noah and Ner looked at him closely, saying, this is from the Lord. The Lord, my brother, and behold, the badge of priesthood was on his chest, and it was glorious and appeared. Noah said to Ner, behold, God is renewing the priesthood from the blood related to us as he pleased. Noah and Ner hurried, watched the child. They dressed him up, garments and priests, and they gave him bread to eat and ate it, and called him what?
Melchizedek.
God damn, come on. Melchizedek has no birth, no end. No, he does have a birth. Melchizedek does. This is the Melech Zadok priesthood coming into focus. This has nothing to do with Moses. Moses is dilly-dallying with other deities. Moses is way away from this shit right here. Noah and Ner lifted the body. So basically what happens is Melchizedek is raised by Noah.
Could I go back to this? I think a paragraph. Okay, wait, hold on. Next one. No, I mean down. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Right there.
This one?
The one where it said when he was born, he already knew how to talk.
Yeah. Right here. Right here.
Hold on.
Right here. Melchizedek came out the womb, physically developed. This is Melchizedek being born.
Oh,
this
so
Melchizedek.
When they had gone out toward the grave, a child came out
of the dead body.
Came out of the dead woman and sat on the bed at her side. Hold on, family. Hold on. Let me just die. Wait. Where is this from? What are we reading right now?
Y'all gonna miss it, man. I'm telling y'all, man.
What are we reading? What is this?
This is the miracle birth of Melchizedek, but it all can be found in the book of Enoch. See right here?
Oh, the book of Enoch.
Oh, okay. My bad. I was telling y'all in the beginning that I'm gonna go from the Bible and show cross references to back up my point. That's all I'm doing. So I'm gonna go into the book of Enoch. I may go into the book of Jasher as well. I may go into different books that the Bible talks about, but are not in the Bible. I'm just showing y'all this is the book of Enoch. The second book is 2 books. The first book names all of the Elohim, all of them, like 22 of them. This is the second book of Enoch, dealing with the birth of Melchizedek.
Yeah, I wanted to just finish reading that real quick.
Oh, please, I'm gonna go back. Oh, the top here.
The part where it said he sat by the bedside.
Oh, my bad.
I just want to make sure I got the story right.
Yeah. Go ahead. Hold on. Appearance, dead womb. Yeah, was it? Oh, right here. Yeah, right here. This right here.
When they had gone out toward the grave, a child came out from the dead woman and sat on the bed at her side. Noah and Near came in to bury the woman, and they saw the child chilling, sitting beside the dead woman. He's the baby's sitting up. First day, just born, right? Minutes, seconds. Wiping his clothing. Noah and Near were very terrified with a great fear because the child was fully developed physically and sat with his lips.
He spoke
with his lips. So the baby just came out the woman who she was dead, sat down and started speaking. Nah, bruh.
It said he spoke with his lips and blessed the Lord.
Nah.
It said, "Thank you, God."
Nah, I gotta go. What the hell? Nah, hold on. Okay.
It said, but listen though, they looked at him closely and said, "This is from the Lord, my brother." And behold, the badge of priesthood was on his chest, because this is the priesthood of Melchizedek. And that's why they said the bloodline has been renewed through this baby. And this is the same bloodline that Jesus comes from. And this is what Christians are singing about. I knew it was the blood that saved me. I plead the blood of Jesus. The bloodline begin over. And this is why Jesus argued with the Pharisees and Sadducees and told them that that's y'all's law. I'm not with the Levitical law. I'm on the whole of the covenant. And this is why Melchizedek later speaks to Abraham and makes a covenant with Abraham. Because you have to understand, Moses, you have three main characters. You have Moses, Noah, then you have Abraham. And from them, you get other offset stories. But those are the three key figures you should always focus on when you're trying to get to an understanding of the whole polemic of the Bible, at least the Old Testament. Noah has a backstory, just like Adam had a whole backstory. Okay, when Cain killed Abel, you know that Adam stayed with the body for 2 months, and Adam's daughter came to get him to let him know that Eve was having his son Enos. There's a whole other story to this shit, and the stories help back up what's really going on. It gives you the backstory. So I'm giving you guys the backstory, pretty much. I'm giving you the backstory. But let's continue on. Remember, we're talking about Baal. He's a storm god. And Baal, the storm god, will always appear in clouds. This is Baal, the storm god. Moses had his encounter. Now we're in Exodus 3. I'm going to go 2 more verses and show you something else cool. When the Lord saw Moses coming near, he called him from a bush, and Moses answered, "Here I am." God replied, "Do not come any closer. Take off your sandals." Who else was supposed to get sacrificed, bro? Was it Isaac?
Yeah, Abraham was going to sacrifice his son, Isaac.
And what stopped him from getting his throat slit?
He saw a lamb. Oh no! An angel rushed in and said God was just kidding.
Basically, but God provided a lamb in the bush.
Right.
Let's read this right here. And this is not even him. This is Moses. Watch Moses' story. God replied to him, "Don't come any closer. Take off your sandals. These grounds are holy. This is holy ground. I am the God who was worshipped by your ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob." He had to tell Moses who he was. Oh yeah, in case you didn't know, like, I'm this God. I'm the God that your ancestors worship. I know you just came out of Egypt and you're in Egypt, but listen, I'm another God. So this is God introducing himself to Moses. Moses was afraid to look at God, so he hid his face. Did you get a good look at him, Moses? Moses was like, "I ain't see shit." The Lord said, "I have seen how my people are suffering as slaves in Egypt, and I heard them begging for my help because of the way they're being mistreated." Now, this is interesting because these individuals walked into Egypt. Now we're dealing with the Hyksos. These are the Hyksos people that he's talking about. So Moses is not the kinsman of these Hyksos, because remember, Moses came Remember earlier, y'all, Moses came up the river Nile. He came from the Sudan. Moses don't even know who the fucking people are. Moses is part of a whole other empire. Moses is part of the Kush Empire. Moses is part of the what's her name? Sheba Empire. Moses has nothing to do with these individuals that this God is talking about. Nothing. Moses know nothing of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Remember, Moses was learned in all the ways of the Egyptians.
Ooh, teach.
Okay, all right. So listen, I need y'all to whatever church stories in your head, get it out your head. Make room to learn more information. This day, Moses was taking care of the sheep and the goat. Moses has not led anybody out of Egypt yet. Moses is working. He's at work in Egypt, tending to the sheep and the goat. And he just so happened to come up to this mountain, the holy mountain. The holy mountain. Now, this holy mountain mentioned right here, this holy mountain, let's talk about the holy mountain real quick. Let's go there real quick. And I know I'm jumping all over the place, but y'all know how I teach.
Come on.
Mount Horeb. This is the holy mountain that he went to. Mount Horeb and Mount Sinai, which is also known as Mount Sin. It's the same mountain. Write down Mount Horeb, Horeb. Write down Mount Sinai. Are generally considered by scholars, not by minister. By scholars, people who are smarter than me, to refer to the same place. Mount Sinai. Mount Sinai is the mountain which the 10 commandments were given to Moses according to the book of Exodus in the Hebrew Bible. In Deuteronomy, these events are described as having transpired at Mount Horeb. Sinai, Horeb are generally considered to be the same place according to scholars. The location of Mount Sinai described in the Bible remains a dispute. The high point of the dispute is in the mid-19th century Hebrew Bible. Text describes the theophany, a personal encounter with the deity at Mount Sinai, in terms which minority of scholars follow by Charles Beck in 1873. Mount Sinai, however, is the most sacred location in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Mount Sinai. Now, why would Mount Sinai be synonymous with Islam? Because Mount Sinai was also the same place that who went up to that place right here, that Muhammad, alayhi salam. He also went up into this mountain also. Who else went up into this magical mountain? Hold on. Here we go. I lost my spot. Hold on. Give me a second.
They say King Tut also went up to that mountain after his father, Akhenaten, had disappeared. And he came over there talking that polytheistic-ish again. He said, and so they killed King Tut. They beat him up. If you go look at the autopsy report, they say King Tut looked like he got his ass whipped. And they didn't put him on a cross. They lynched him, according to the Levitical law. King Tut was lynched.
Is watch this transfiguration. Here we go. Now, Jesus had a transfiguration according to Matthew 17 at this same mountain. Let's take a look. After 6 days, Jesus took with him Peter, James, and John, the brother of James, and led him up to a high mountain by themselves. This is the same mountain. Watch what happens at this magical mountain. There he was transfigurated. What does transfiguration mean, Minister? Great question, audience. You guys are awesome. Let's find out what transfiguration means. Transfiguration means transform into something more beautiful or elevated, convert, change, alter, metamorphosis, modified, transmuted, muted, rearranged, reshaped, remodeled, redo, restructured, recast, rebuild, recognized, renewed, and revolutionized. That's what the word transfiguration means. So now Jesus is at the same mountain. I'm going to show you in a minute. Stay with me. There he was transfigured before them. His face shone like the sun. Remember that fire earlier I told you about?
Come on.
And I didn't even get to the point of, hold on. Where's it at? I'm going to go back to Jesus. Watch this, though. God replied, take your sandals off. Talking to Moses, I am the God who worshiped so-and-so. Moses was afraid. I have seen how many people are suffering, blah, blah, blah. I will bring the people out of Egypt. This is the deity talking to Moses. But Moses said, who am I to go tell well, I'm going to go back to Jesus. Trust me. You're like, damn, you just going to our place. I know. Watch this. But Moses said, who am I to go to the king and lead your people out of Egypt? They're not my people, Moses says. I'm an Egyptian. I was born and raised. I was born and raised in Virginia. Now I'm in Nigeria. They're telling me those ain't my people. Moses said, these are your people. God replied, I will be with you, and you will know that I am the one who sent you when you worship me on this mountain.
Damn.
After you lead my people out of Egypt, come back to this mountain, Moses, and holler at me, bro. Go get them out of Egypt and bring them back to this mountain. This magical mountain. This magical mountain is Mount Sinai, Mount Sin, Mount Horeb. This is the mountain that Moses is being coerced to bring the Israelites onto this mountain. Moses answered, I would tell the people of Israel that the God their ancestors worship has sent me to them, but what should I say if they ask your name? God said to Moses, I am the eternal God. So tell them that the Baal, whose name is I am, has sent you. This is my name forever, and it is the name that the people must use from now on. Don't call me Baal no more. Call me I am, because I am that I am. And this is Exodus chapter 3. I'm going to take you to where this God told Moses to show up to this mountain and worship Baal Zethroa, or whatever his name is.
Zephon, yeah.
Zephon, right? So Moses is being ordered. This is the conversation between Moses and this deity. This is not the God of Egypt. Moses has not led the Israelites out of Egypt yet. He was out taking care of the sheep, minding his business in Mount Sinai. He went to the holy mountain. Moses did. This ain't Moses' first time at this mountain. He saw a bush that was on fire. What was in that bush? A ram? But the bush was not consumed. This is strange, Moses said to himself. I'll go over and see why that bush isn't burning. When the Lord saw Moses come near, he called him by the name of the bush, and Moses answered, here I am. God replied, don't come no closer. Stay right there, nigga. Stay right there. Don't come no closer. So not only has Moses has a story with the bush, but Abraham has a story with the bush.
Ooh, teach.
I know it's a lot. I know. This is college, y'all. This is college. It's not gonna be laid out 1, 2, 3, tic-tac-toe. No. Tomorrow we work on colors, okay? We work on colors tomorrow. What is this? Went to the mountain of Baal. Watch this. Numbers 31. Numbers 31. I'm going back to the Bible. I'm off WikiLeaks. I'm sorry, but I had to find it. Let's go back to the Bible. Number 31. Nope, this ain't it. 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 I'm sorry. My bad.
Take your time, Minister. Take your time.
Oh, I am.
Everybody in the listening audience and those who are going to catch this later, say neighbor. Tell
There
the
we
minister,
go.
say take your time.
There I go. Here we go right here. Now, we're going to go to 32. And I'm in Exodus. Exodus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. I'm in Exodus. Let me set the story up for y'all real quick. Let me go back. Let me go back. I'm hyped, man, because it's so much. Let's go back. Let's go back. Exodus 30. My bad. There we go. Now we're back to the altar making.
Okay.
We at the mountain, but we're making altars now. This is Moses at the mountain making altars. This is God telling Moses, make an altar of acacia wood for burning incense. It is also to be square, a cubit long by a cubit wide. Finger to your elbow is 1 cubit, in case you didn't know that. Overlay the top of the sides with the horns of pure gold and make the gold molding around it. Make 2 gold rings at the altar. Moses is giving the instructions on what he's making. Watch this. Put the altar in front of the curtain that shields the ark of the covenant law before the atonement cover that is over the tablets and of the covenant law, where I will meet with you. Basically, Moses is putting all of the ornaments inside of the Ark of the Covenant, the tablets, and his staff is going in there too. This is the Ark of the Covenant. I only bring this to bear because we're going to talk about these tablets, which are called the 10 Commandments, which were given at this magical mountain to Moses. Tablets of the covenant law. What is a covenant law, family? This is not the law that the Christians should be following. A covenant law, in the most general sense, in historical sense, is a solemn promise to engage or refrain from a specific action. Under historical English common law, a covenant was distinguished from the ordinary contract by presence of a seal. So basically, this covenant that Moses has made with this deity at the top of Mount Sin is supposed to be the new agreement that the Israelites were now follow, because the Israelites were in Egypt and they probably worshiped what they worshiped just like Moses worshiped what he worshiped, because Moses was learned in all the ways of the Egyptians. Moses is now getting a new divine contract with another deity. It's called covenant law. And the covenant law is not to be confused with the law of God. You know, the 10 Commandments with the law of God. No, that was a contract. I'm going to show you about this contract. And this is God also. This is verses. Watch this crazy shit. This is Exodus 30:11. Now the Israelites got to pay to be members of the society this new Lord belongs to. Watch this. Then the Lord said to Moses, when you take a census of the Israelites to count them, each one must pay the Lord one ransom for his life at a time to be counted. Look at the contract that Moses is putting the Israelites under, and they have no idea that Moses has put them on a whole other contract. The Israelites were never under any covenant or contract with the Egyptians. You can't find that. You know, there was in slavery. Okay, I'll give you the slavery part, but what law or covenant did they have to follow in Egypt? You can't find a record of it. You can't even find a record of an Egyptian army. Civilized people don't need an army or jails. You get civilized. You can't find an Egyptian army. Pharaoh and his army came behind. No, it wasn't no fucking army. It's about 9 chariots. And it was not. Anyway, this is Moses making a whole other covenant or a whole other law. The Lord said the Israelites must pay a ransom for his life at the time he is counted. Then no plague will come on them when you number them. Unless they pay me, I'm going to plague the Israelites. Not the Egyptians. I'm going to plague y'all. Each one who crosses over to those already counted is to give half shekel. This is money, currency. This God wanted money, the dollar bill, the coins, according to the sanctuary's shekel, which weighs 20 garrets. This is a metal coin. The half shekel is an offering to the Lord. All those who cross over the river, though became Hebrews, they bought their way in. Watch this. 20 years old or more, give a offering to the Lord. The rich are not to give more than half a shekel, and the poor is not to give less. When you make the offering to the Lord and to atone for your lives, receive the atonement money from the Israelites and use it for services for the tent of the meeting. It will be a memorial for the Israelites before the Lord, making atonement for your lives. The Israelites now have to buy in and pay this new deity that Moses is coming across. They have to pay this deity money. It sounds familiar, church folks? Giving an offering? Okay. Watch this. We almost done. Almost done. I know it's a lot. I know it's a lot. Hold on. Hold on. So this is really trying to get to the tablet part. Hold on. It's a certain part of the tablets I want to show y'all. $32. Okay, I was almost there. Exodus 32. I was almost there, family. My bad. I was in 30 and 31. Exodus 32:19. My Hebrew Israelite brothers and sisters, I'm learning. Soon I'm gonna be shouting the Bible verses like y'all in a minute. If I keep doing this, I'm gonna learn them in a minute. All right, let's go to 19. Matter of fact, we just talked with 32 right quick. When people saw Moses was long coming, basically Moses up in the mountain. So I was trying to read for 31. 31, Moses goes up to the mountain. He hangs out for like 40 years. 40 years. 40 years. 40 years.
Wow.
Not 40 days and 40 nights. That's the story of the guy with the boat. This is not the guy with the boat. This is Moses, not Noah. Noah, 40 days, 40 nights with the rain. This is 40 years. The Israelites were wandering for 40 years until Moses came back down that mountain, because the older generation had to die off first. And then the children of Israel, not the old folk, not the grown folk, the children of Israel had to come into the promised land, not the grown folks. Not the folks. In fact, when Moses tried to free them out of Egypt, a lot of the elders said, "We're just gonna stay right here, bro. I just got me a condo by the Nile River. I'm good. I just got me some waterfront property. You know what I'm saying? By the Nile River. I think we're gonna hang out here. I think we good, Moses.
Right.
A lot of them didn't even go. Those who felt like they were being treated wrong went. Only a handful of them went. By the way, it wasn't a whole bunch of people went with Moses. By the way. But anyway, they had to die off. So Moses was up on this mountain for 40 fucking years. When the people saw that Moses was so long in coming down from the mountain, they gathered around Aaron. Now, Aaron is the high priest, which is Moses' brother, right? It said, "Come, make us gods." It's been 40 years, and we haven't prayed, worshiped, tithe, anything. Make us a god, man, who will go before us. As for this fellow Moses, they don't even know who he is for real. This fellow, this guy Moses, who brought us up out of Egypt, we don't know what happened to him. It's been 40 years, Aaron. Where's he at? Here's what Aaron said. Take off your gold earring. Whoa. Take off your gold earrings. I thought these were slaves. I thought the Israelites were slaving in Egypt. I've never heard it. Now, if we go to slavery in America, we don't see no Negroes with gold nothing on.
Right.
Even though they say now that niggas that wear gold chain is slaves. But anyway, the point is, the Israelites have on gold earrings that your wives and your son, the whole family got on gold. So these might not have been slaves.
Teach.
These might not have been slaves wearing gold, y'all. So all the people took off their earrings, all of them. How many? Some of them, few of them, three of them, all of them took off their gold earrings and brought it to Aaron. He took what they handed him and made it into an idol cast in the shape of a calf. Now we know that these people just came out of where? Egypt, right? We know that Moses was born in Egypt, and Moses was learned in all the ways of the Egyptians. Wouldn't you bet that the daughters and the sons were also learned in all the ways of the Egyptians? They had to be taught this new religion called Judaism or Hebrewism or Israelitism. They had to be taught this shit because they didn't know anything about it. Let's continue. So all the people took off their shit, handed to Aaron. He made them a idol calf, the shape of a calf, which is, we know the god came out of Egypt, any golden calf out of Egypt, Hathor, okay, many others, fashioned it with the tools. He said, these are the gods, Israel, who brought you out of Egypt. Who brought them out of Egypt? Moses did? Nope. Who brought them out of Egypt?
Okay.
I didn't say it. Aaron said it. Now you got to go dig him up wherever he at and argue with him about this. I'm just pointing out the fact that Aaron just said that these are the gods that brought you out of Egypt, Israel. Here we go again, building these what? Building these damn altars.
An altar.
It's sacrifice time, right? When Aaron saw this, he built an altar in front of the calf and announced tomorrow there would be a festival to who? Which Lord? Which Lord?
Yeah,
Which one? Which one? This one? This one? This one?
Ooh, teach.
To your Lord, the one I just made y'all, the calf, right? Tomorrow we're going to celebrate, right? This is what it said. This is how you read this thing, man. All right?
Right.
So the next day, the people rose. They got up early. They ready. They didn't go to sleep that night. They was hyped. Got the clothes laid out. Got the sandals all dusted off. Rose early and sacrifice and burnt offering. What is sacrifice and burnt offering, guys? It's called a holocaust. That's what a sacrifice and burnt offering is. Afterwards, they sat down, they eat, they drank, they indulged in revelry. The Lord said to Moses, go down there. Moses is on the mountain. What mountain is Moses on? Up here, Mount Sinai. Who is he talking to up there on that mountain? I just showed y'all who he was talking to. Moses is having a conversation on top of Mount Sin. This is not Moses, I'm showing y'all. Now, this picture is interesting because this picture right here is talked about in Revelation 22. If we have time, we'll rock with that in a minute. But Moses is having a conversation. That's why the Israelites are often associated with the Sumerian deities. And the Samaritan deities in the Sumerian deities are often associated to be, where they at? Now y'all see them. They somewhere in here. Right here. This we hear about Enlil and Anu and the Anunnaki. These are the deities of that mountain. And I keep showing you Sinai or Mount Sin because Mount Sin is Mount Sinai. This is the mountain that Moses was on. In what area? The Mesopotamia. These are the deities that Moses is talking to and making a covenant with. These are the Akkadic. Later, you're going to learn about, I don't have time tonight, but later you're going to learn about Enki and Enlil. But before we go to Enki and Enlil, you have to know about the Akkadians and who the Akkadians were. And this is where you get the canoe form of writing in the Mesopotamia, because the Egyptians already had their writings already that Moses already knew. Moses had, listen, if the deity talking to Moses wrote like this is what the commandments would look like. If the deity that Moses talked to about the tablets, this is what the tablets would look like. It wouldn't be in English. It wouldn't say thou shalt not kill. And especially if they of the 42 negative confessions of Mayat, they would probably look like more like the Hieratic form of writing. My question to you is, how did Moses rewrite that shit without even knowing the language in the first place? We'll get to that in a second. Just hold tight. Hold tight. We almost there. We almost there. I promise you we almost there. This is fun. Let's go back to Jesus on this mountain right quick. You remember Jesus? I didn't forget. Y'all probably forgot. Y'all stuck on the calf and Moses in the golden calf. Stay with me. I'm going to tie it all together. This is why Jesus referred. This is where Jesus was transfigurated. His face shone like the sun. His clothes became as white as the light. Just then there appeared before them Moses and Elijah talking to who?
Jesus. Come on.
Jesus talked to Moses. Well, that ain't really nothing, minister. Moses died a couple of thousand years before Jesus was even born.
Ooh, okay. Damn.
Without Moses bringing the Israelites out of Egypt, Jesus would have had no tribe to come back and save in the first place. Moses precedes Jesus. Now, Jesus goes to the same mountain and has a conversation with Moses and Elijah. Peter said to Jesus, Lord, it is good for us to be here. If you wish, I will put up 3 shelters, one for you, one for Moses, one for Elijah. While he was still speaking, a bright what came over them? Baal shows up, Jesus.
Ooh, teach.
Who's in the cloud? Baal is in the cloud. Who is Baal? The storm deity is in the cloud.
Right.
Them. And the voice from the cloud said, this is my son whom I love. With him I am well pleased. Listen to him. This same conversation happens when John baptizes Jesus under the water. The clouds appear again. A dove descends. And a voice says, this is my son, who I am well pleased. But this is not the baptism of Jesus. This is the transfiguration of Jesus on Mount Horeb or Mount Sin. So who are they dealing with at this mountain? When the disciples heard this, they fell down face first. Remember this, because Moses, I'm gonna take you back in time. We can go from Moses and then go to the future, back with Jesus. Go back to Moses, go back to Jesus. In a second, Moses does the same thing. He falls down on his face. This is a formal prayer that they do in Islam. It's called prostration. It's when your face and your hands are on the ground. Your forehead is on the ground. This is how all Muslims pray. At the top of this same mountain that Jesus is talking to these dead ancestors, it's going to be the same mountain that Rasulullah Muhammad comes to and talks to who? Jibrail. And Jibrail knows he should show up every fucking where throughout everything. But anyway, felt that. But Jesus came and touched them and said, what? Get up. Do not be afraid. When they look up, they saw no one except Jesus. As they were coming down the mountain, Jesus instructed them, do not tell anyone what you have seen until the Son of Man has been risen up from the dead. Don't tell nobody nothing of what you just seen. Jesus and Elijah was not alive at the same time. Elijah predates Jesus by a couple hundred years. The disciple asked him, why then do the teachers of the law say that Elijah must come first? Jesus replied, to be sure, Elijah comes will restore all things. But I tell you, Elijah has already come, and they did not recognize him. But I have done to him everything that they wish. In the same way, the Son of Man is going to suffer at their hands. Then the disciples understood that he was talking about John the Baptist. So just wanted to show you that real quick, that Jesus at this magical mountain having a conversation with this cloud god. And he talks to Moses, because Moses was at the same mountain also talking to this cloud god. And this cloud god has a name. This is the cloud god right here. Baal, he's the Lord of the North. Baal Hadan is also another name for another deity. Y'all follow me?
Factory.
As the god mentioned in the Egyptian papyrus, Baal is also mentioned in Egypt. It's in the British Museum.
Ooh.
It was a
Okay.
Well, they ain't mentioned so and so on the Egyptian wall. They mentioned Moses on the.
There you have it.
We almost done. I promise you, we almost done. Mount Harb, Mount Sin are all the same mountain. In biblical passage, these events described as having transpired at Mount Sinai. Although most scholars consider Sinai and Harb to have different names for the same place, there is a minority of body opinions that it may be at different locations. Mount Harb, Mount Sin, write those down. We know that Mount Sin is short for Sinai. But at the top of Mount Sin, you also have the Nana Sin at this mountain. Mount Sinai, which was the place that Moses was given the 10 Commandments by Baal, not by God. Baal gave him the 10 Commandments at this magical mountain. We also know that Rasulullah Muhammad also was at this same location. Mount Harb, Mount Sin are all the same thing. This is the same place. We also know that Jesus also went to the same mountain where he spoke to Moses and Elijah at this same mountain. That's in Matthew 17, where Jesus went to this mountain. Let's talk about Nimrod. Nimrod also had a dealing with these same deities at this same mountain. The same mountain. Let's go to the verse right quick. I'll show y'all something real quick. Now, what's interesting about Nimrod? Nimrod is the son of Cush, and Cush is the son of Ham. Check. Cush, therefore, is the great grandson of Noah. Nimrod was described as the king of the land of Shinar, which is the Mesopotamia. So that very place that the Hebrew Israelites go to, Nimrod is the king of the entire area, which encompasses also the city of what? Babylon, called Babel. The Bible states that he was a mighty hunter before the Lord, began to be mighty in the earth. Later, extra biblical tradition identifies Nimrod as the ruler of the one who commissioned the construction of the Tower of Babel. There is no Tower of Babel. This is what it looks like. Ziggurat. This is what Nimrod was building. It was not a tower. It's not a tower. It's called a ziggurat, which is another name for a pyramid.
Like a step pyramid?
Right. Nimrod was building a ziggurat, not a tower. The ziggurat was going to be a temple to which Nimrod was going to raise up and worship the true deities. When I say true deities, we have to keep in mind that Nimrod just came from Noah. Noah just came from Methuselah. Methuselah goes all the way back to Enoch. Enoch goes back to the first high priest, who was Enos. Enos is the son of the very first high priest, which is Adam. These are the true custodians of the covenant of the one true God before they start dealing with these different deities at these mountaintops. Did you know up until the people of Nimrod, they only spoke one language, which was called the Adamic language, which was the language that let me show y'all something. Let me teach y'all something right quick, man. Oh boy, it's so much, bro. It's just so much. Nimrod mentioned in the Bible. Nimrod gets a bad rep too, man. He gets a bad rep.
Yeah,
Nimrod was all,
he's a bad guy. All the Babylonians were. Him, Nebuchadnezzar.
well, see, Nimrod is associated with Nebuchadnezzar, just like the association of Nimrod and Sargon. But Sargon goes back to Horus. So Nimrod, Sargon, and Nebuchadnezzar, which is the son of Marduk, goes back to Horus. So write down Marduk. I don't have time to get into it. These are all the Mesopotamian deities, but the first Mesopotamian king was Nimrod. He was the first one to rule the entire. There was nobody there, y'all. Any jog your memory? Before Nimrod comes on the scene to rule the Mesopotamia, you only had Ham, Shem, Japheth, and Noah on the planet, according to the story. Nobody was here. God told them to go out, be fruitful, and repopulate the earth. So Ham settled with his children's Cush, Punt, Mizraim. They got Africa and the Middle East. Japheth went up north. Shem went southern to India somewhere. They all spread it out. So out of Nimrod, which comes out of the loins of Cush, he was the ruler of the Middle East now. And I'm saying Middle East, we know it's Africa. So Nimrod was the first ruler, period, of the Mesopotamia, of the city of Babel, of Chaldea, of Ur. He was the first one. Nimrod was. All right, Genesis 10. My bad. Watch this. Cush was the father of Nimrod, who became a mighty warrior on earth. Yeah, I'm in the NIV. Let me go to KJV for the Hebrew Israelites get upset. They don't want to hear nothing else but the KJV. And
that's right.
And I made a pact with my brothers that I go from KJV. And Cush begot Nimrod. He began a mighty one in the earth. Now, in the Torah, the mighty one is the word is Gibor, which means a mighty one. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Wherefore it is said, even Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord, and began his kingdom. And the beginning of his kingdom was where? Babel, not Babylon. Babylon gets the bad rap later on it. Erech, Arcadia, Calinth, and the land of Shinar. The land of Shinar, people, is also known later as the land of Sheba.
Teach.
And the queen of Sheba, Markita, who talks to Solomon later in the story. Out of the land, Shinar is also synonymous with the land of Nod. The land of Nod, which the Arcadian, the Arcadian Empire was already there. That's who Cain was afraid of.
Right.
He went into the land of Nod. The land of Nod is Shinar. Out of that land went forth Asher to build Night. And this is the building of the kingdoms. This is the entire building of the kingdoms. And I'm going to show you these deities who came down and got pissed off with him. Right here. Watch this. Mizraim. This is Egypt, y'all. This is Egypt. Mizraim, which is the son of the grandson of Cush, great-grandson of Cush, sorry. Mizraim, this is Egypt. Understand that. So anybody that came out of this generation right here was called Mizrites, like the Canaanites and the Moabites, Jebusites. They're called Mizrites. They're also called Egyptians. Thought I'd point that out to y'all real quick. What is real cool right quick? The Canaanites, these are the sons of Ham family. Then it goes to Shem family, so on and so forth. All right? Got that good? Now, let's see what happened with these deities dealing with Nimrod. Look right here. I just told you what they spoke. Genesis 11 said, and the whole world was of one language and of one speech. Who spoke first, I wonder? Adam spoke? Cain and Abel spoke. Enos spoke.
Come on.
Enoch spoke. Methuselah spoke. Methuselah is the father of Noah. Noah spoke what his daddy spoke. Methuselah spoke what Cain spoke. Cain spoke what Adam spoke. They all spoke the same language. This was called the Adamic language. You don't believe me? You know I don't talk no barbershop talk.
Come on, minister. That's right.
It varies. It is variously interpreted as either the language used by God to address Adam, the divine language, or the language invented by Adam, which has his name, all things, including Eve, as in the second Genesis creation narrative 2:19. What happened to the Adamic language? It was a natural. It was naturally supposed to corrupt a language at the fall. However, the crucial event in the loss of the universal language is told in the story of Babel, when the Lord confused the languages of all the earth. They all spoke one language, family. This is the time of Nimrod. This is how everybody was in tangent, working together, because they all spoke the same language. I wonder if all the so-called Negroes in North America would speak the same language. What if we spoke the same language? Is this why Dr. York was trying to create a language? This is why most nations who do great speak one language. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east and found the plains of the land of Shinar, they dwelt there. This is Nimrod and his people. As they said to one another, go, let us make brick, burn them thoroughly. And they had bricks for stone and slime, and they had for mortar. They now entered the Mesopotamia. Guess what mountain range is right here? Mount Sin.
Teach.
This is the same place Mount Sin is at. Now watch this. They're going to try to build a ziggurat. And watch what Nimrod says. Watch this about ziggurat. Watch this. And they said, go, let us build a city in a tower whose top may reach into where? The heavens, or Olympus. Let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad among the face of the whole earth. And then the Lord came down to see the city. Wait a minute. He can't see it from up there? I thought he was on high looking on low. I thought he could see everything down here. He's omnipotent. He saw everything. And the Lord came down to see the city in the tower, which the children of men built. The children of men built this. The children of men built this. And the Lord said, behold, the people is one, and they have all one language. And this is in this they begin to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them from which they can imagine. The Lord is having an epiphany and saying they speak one language. They're all on the same page. They are building up their communities. They are not selling drugs.
Teach.
Positive. Oh my God. These Negroes are working together, because Nimrod was a Negro. These Negroes are working together. We can't let this happen. What I'm showing y'all is the first COINTELPRO. This was the first COINTELPRO. Y'all ain't know that? Genesis 11, chapter 6, when J. Edgar Hoover, when this God for black unity, if these Negroes get together in the land of Shinar and they're able to build this ziggurat, then there's nothing they won't be able to do. So this deity goes back up to the mountain and tells the other deities. What other deities? Go back up there and tell the other deities. Hey, listen. Let me tell y'all something. Let us go down there and confound their languages, that they may not be understood to one another. Let's go confuse them so they cannot do this. Let's have them calling you the black, Negro, and colored. Let's have them calling each other bitches and hoes and G's and my nigga and huh. Let's go confound the languages and the tongues so they cannot work together. This is the first COINTELPRO. So the Lord scattered them abroad from thenceforth the face of all the earth, and they left off to build a city. Therefore, the name is called Babel, because the Lord did there confound the languages of all the earth. And from thence did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the face of the earth. These are the generations of Shem. And it goes into Shem generation. We won't get into that. I'm just showing y'all how Nimrod was about to build something great. They had one language, and that one language was the Adamic language, until these deities came down from Mount Sinai, who came down from Mount Sin, these storm deities, these crazy looking deities who made a deal with Moshe. Y'all know how Moses really looked? Y'all know Moses had horns? Y'all know Moses got his horns after he made the covenant with the deity on the mountain?
Teach. Okay, you going deep.
I got about 5 minutes to show you how Moses got these horns. I got about 5 minutes to show you right quick that Moses made a covenant. These are not the 10 commandments. These are not the laws of God. This is a contract with another deity that he made. And I'm showing you that these deities come down from this mountain. They reside on this mountain. I'm giving you the references. Do your own homework and look up Mount Sin. Look up Nana Sin. And when you look up Nana Sin, you're going to look up what's called the Enads. And the ancient Enads are the 9 primordial deities out of Egypt, who Moses just left. So Moses left them to go now write another contract. This is contract law. Get out of religion for a second, y'all. This is contract law. Moses didn't use his UCC 1-308. This is contract law. Let me take you into this real quick. Now we're going back to Exodus 32. Back to Exodus 32. Watch this now. Watch this. Aaron just built the golden calf. Then the Lord's Baal said to Moses, go down, because your people whom you brought out of Egypt have become corrupt. They have been quick to turn away from what I commanded them. They have not got the commandments yet, because Moses haven't came down with the laws yet. So they haven't broken any laws technically, Baal. They don't know. They haven't seen the laws yet. But he's telling Moses, and made themselves an idol cast in the shape of a calf. They have bowed down to it and sacrificed to it, and have said, these are your gods, Israel, who brought you out of Egypt. I have seen these people, the Lord said to Moses, and they are stiff-necked people. Now they leave me alone. Now, telling Moses, they leave me alone, that my anger may burn against them. Remember earlier I showed you where he was about to put, later he's gonna put the plagues on. This is the first time God was about to fuck him up. Now Moses is gonna convince God to change his mind and don't do it this time. But I showed you earlier where he actually put plagues on the Israelites because they got to pay money. Remember, they got to pay dues. They got to pay half a shilling to be on his team. This is what the God telling Moses. They got to pay me every month. And they got to sacrifice their best kid. No, this is what he said to Moses.
Right.
They tell Moses, now leave me alone, that my anger may burn against them, and I may have destroyed them. Watch what Moses say. But Moses sought the favor of the Lord, God, Lord, and he said, why should your anger burn against your people, whom I have brought out of Egypt with great power and a mighty hand? Why should the Egyptians say it was evil intent for them to be brought out and to be killed at the mountain? Moses tells them, turn from your fierce anger. Do not bring disaster on the people. Remember your servants, Abraham and Isaac and Israel, who you sworn by yourself. I will make your descendants a number. He basically reminded God of what he told Abraham. Listen, You made that deal with Abraham. Remember, you can't go back on your word with Abraham because these are Abraham's descendants too. So don't kill all of them. And God, watch what God said.
Yeah, so like right there, it's almost like Moses gave God a pep talk.
He did. Listen, he did. Remember, hey, whoa, man, chill out. Then the Lord relented. In the KJV, it says he repented. God repented and did not bring it on his people of disaster. Well, here we go, tablets. Pay attention, family. Pay attention. Moses turned and went down the mountain with the 2 tablets of the covenant law, which is a mutual contract. Okay? This is not the same law that the Creator gave Adam. Remember, he told him? He gave Adam a direct word of what to do. This joker had to write it on paper, he had to write it down. Let me write down what I want to do. Okay, listen. And God wrote this down. They were inscribed on both sides, front and back. Front and back. Front and back. That's more than 10 sentences. Front and back of the stone. The tablets were the work of God. The writing was the writing of God engraved on the tablets. These are the first 2 tablets. This is the first set of the covenant law. Watch what Moses do with the first set and watch how the second set get created. And then I'm through with it. When Joshua heard the noise of the people shouting, he said to Moses, they're shouting of war in the camp. Moses replied, it is not the sound of victory. It is the sound of defeat. It is the sound of them singing I hear. When Moses approached the camp, he saw the calf and the dancing and the gyrating and the twerking and the tick-tocking. And Moses, his anger burned. This is Moses getting mad now. His anger burned and he threw the tablets out of his hand, breaking them into pieces. There was no glue. He couldn't glue it back together. God had gave him the commandments. God gave him the commandments, or Baal gave Moses these commandments. Moses came down and broke the law. He was the first lawbreaker.
Teach.
Moses was the first. Ask any Israel, who's the first lawbreaker? Moses. What do you mean? He broke the law. Literally broke the law. Pay attention. And for those of y'all wonder, we're in Exodus 32, verse 20. If you want to follow along, look it up later. And he took the calf. This is Moses. He took the calf the people had made and burned it in the fire. Moses took the gold calf and burned it in the fire. Then he ground it into powder, scattered it on the water, and he made the Israelites drink it. Moses took the gold, put it in fire, ground it into powder, scattered it on the water, and made the Israelites drink it. Moses, that's some evil shit.
Wow.
That's evil. Moses says to Aaron, what did these people do to you that you let them do us? Nigga, what you done did, Aaron? Aaron said, don't be angry. You know how these people are, man. They love to do evil shit. Moses, you brought them out. Listen, bro. You brought them out. You know how they are. You know how they are. They said to me, make us a God who go before us. As for the fellow Moses who brought us out of Egypt, we don't know what happened to him. You was gone for 40 years. Moses, we didn't know what to do, bro. We had a whole generation die off and new people born. You can't tell these new kids nothing. So I told them, whoever has any gold, take it off and give it to me. Then I made them a golden calf. And this is Aaron explaining to Moses. Moses saw the people were running around wild, and Aaron had let them get out of control. Aaron, man, bro, what you doing? Became a laughingstock of their enemies. So he stood at the entrance of the camp. Watch what Moses do. Moses said to the Levites, watch this. So he stood at the entrance of the camp and said, whoever is for the Lord, come to me. And all the Levites rallied to him, because the Levites are the Knight Templars. They are the holy warriors. They are the army of God. The Levites are. They are the priests. They are the Mukmanadi. They are the Mukman. They are the men of the book. Literally. Moses said to the Levites, this is what the Lord or the God has said. God ain't, now look, God didn't say this. Now we know damn well God didn't just say this to Moses. Watch what Moses said God said after Moses made God change his mind. Watch what Moses God said. Watch this now. Each man strapped his sword to his side, go back and forth through the camp from one end to the other, each killing his brother, his friend, and his neighbor. And the Levites did what Moses commanded. And 3,000 of the people died. This is the second Holocaust of the Israelites.
Okay.
Before
Okay,
we
you
get to
on
1945.
fire.
Okay?
And this is after he said, "Thou shalt not kill."
But this is the reason Moses didn't get to the promised land, because Moses had blood in his hands. This is the reason. Moses said,
Ooh.
you have been set apart from the Lord today. You are against your own son and brother. So the Levites had to kill their own people as well. The next day, Moses said to the people, you have committed great sin, but now I will go up to the Lord. Perhaps I can make an atonement for your sin. So Moses went back up to the mountain and said to the Lord of Baal, oh, what great sins have people committed. They have made themselves a god of gold. Notice they refer to the god of gold being the Egyptian deity, but they refer to the so-called God of Moses as Lord. They're not referred, he's never referred to as God. And remember, the word Lord is synonymous in Hebrew or in the Torah with the word Baal, B-A-L. So wherever you see the word Lord, I'm going to say Baal. And when you see God, I'm going to say God.
Gotcha.
They have made themselves a gods of gold. Now, these little gods of gold, they were small figurines that Aaron had made. These are called washatis. Washatis are the small little emblems that Rachel took from her dad. Her dad was the priest of On, which was the god of Heliopolis. There's little small figurines called washatis. But now, please figure their sins. But if not, then blot out the book you have written for them. Moses basically saying, listen, man, could you just forgive him on behalf of me? We don't kill all the bad ones. The Lord replied to Moses, has sinned against me, will blot out my book. Now go, lead the people to the place I spoke of, and my angel will go before you. However, when the time comes for me to punish, I will punish their sins. Now, God gonna get them later, which I showed you a little bit earlier. He's gonna get them later. God's gonna get the Israelites much later. Now Moses is leading them away from the Mount Sinai, and now they're really going to go into the Mesopotamia area. And here's where the entire religion from of the idealism of Nimrod, Mesopotamia, right? Nimrod then becomes, watch this. Nimrod, how you spell his name? Sargon. Spell his name.
Yeah, I say it, or S-A-R. Yeah.
S-A-R, yeah. Nimrod was relocated as Sargon. I'm gonna put it together for y'all real quick, because some of y'all might never heard of Sargon. Nimrod, Sargon, and I'm gonna show you. Sargon is Marduk, or who is, see, his eyes missing. Sargon was also known as Horus. Sargon of Arcadia, Sargon the Great, was the first ruler of the Akkadian Empire. Remember now, Nimrod ruled all of that. Arcadia, Babel, all of that. Nimrod did. These are the deities. Just pay attention. He was the founder of the Sarganic, or the old Akkadic dynasty, which ruled for about half a century to his death. Find some more people in here, you know. His empire is thought to have included most parts of the Mesopotamia, parts of the Levant, besides the incursions of Huron and Element territory, ruling from the capital of Akkad. I just showed you that Akkad is where Nimrod was. What is interesting here, real quick? The spelling Sargon derived from the singular mention and dimension reference to Sargon 2, Hebrew Bible, Isaiah 21. So Isaiah chapter 20, verse 1, you can find Sargon, the mention of Sargon. What else I'm trying to find real quick? It's interesting for y'all to understand. All right, anyway.
I'm sorry. Could I share this real quick?
Please.
So when we're dealing with Sargon, who was Nimrod, Sargon, one eye missing. If we look at this picture, we see Sargon with one eye missing. Pay attention, family. Pay attention. This is all a tribute to Sargon, to Nimrod, to that god, that mountain god, that storm god. Even to this day.
To this day.
To this day. When y'all think this is just, that's the Bible. Okay, no. That's 1,000 years ago. Family, y'all better tap in all the way.
Yep.
Signs and symbols for the conscious mind.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I yield the floor.
No. So somebody said it sounded like the Anunnaki to me. Well, you don't, Mr. Brownhawk, you don't get the Anunnaki until you get the God Anu. The God Anu. The Anunnaki was a pantheon of Anus. And I'm about to take you down to the Anunnaki in a second. If you give me a second to get finished with Sargon. And the brother just did a beautiful job demonstrating on Sargon. Now, I mentioned somebody. You mentioned somebody else besides Sargon. Who else did you mention? You mentioned somebody else.
Well, right then?
No, earlier we talked about Sargon. We mentioned somebody else too. Who said? Or what did me telling you? You said another deity of the ancient Sumerian culture. Damn, you said his name.
Marduk, Enki.
Marduk. There you go. Now, watch this now, y'all. Let's get to the Anunnaki real quick, because I know that's what people are excited about. Chief god of Babylon. There were many gods. Going back, his temple, the famous ziggurat, that's what Nimrod was fucking building. The ziggurat is considered the model for the biblical Tower of Babel. The Greeks associated with Zeus and the Romans with Jupiter. He is depicted as a human in royal robes carrying a snake, dragon, and a spade. How did Moses raise up the people? With a serpent on a stake. It's how Moses raised people up with a snake. Y'all know that?
Teach.
We ain't done with Moses. We thought we was done with Moses. Moses raises up the people with a serpent. Oh. Moses raises up the people with a serpent. The people cried out. This is Christianity.com. The people cried out for mercy, and God instructed Moses to make a brass serpent, put it on a pole, and hold it up in the midst of the camp. Let's go back. Marduk, his temple, the famous ziggurat, I just showed you the ziggurat that Nimrod was building that was going to surpass the other mountain of the other deities. These deities always reside in a mountain. That's why they got Zeus mentioned in there and Jupiter mentioned there. Olympus was a place on a mountain, Mount Olympus. Now, this magical mountain turns to Mount Olympus later, but this mountain, the chief god of the Babylonians, named Marduk.
When Jesus, when the devil tempted Jesus, he took him to the top of a mountain to tempt him. When Martin Luther King had his epiphany of where he saw God, that speech was titled, "I've been to the mountaintop."
Come on now. Come on now. Come on now. Marduk in the Mesopotamian religion, the chief god of the city of Babylon. I just showed you Nimrod in Babylon. I just showed you that Moses went to a mountain in the Mesopotamia region, which is still Egypt, but for the sake of the conversation, let's just keep it there. Marduk in the Mesopotamian religion is the chief god of Babylon, the national god of Babylon. As such, he was eventually called simply what? Baal, or what? Lord. So every time you saw the word Lord appear, who was reading about Moses, that's who they're talking about. A poem known as the Ima Elish, and dating from the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, who he just mentioned earlier, right, relates to Marduk, rise such premises that he was the god of 50 names. Each one of that deity of divine attribute, after the conqueror of the monster of the primeval chaos Tiamat. He became the Lord of the gods. He became the Lord of the gods. We're talking about,
because you broke down Lord and God. He became the Lord of the gods. Teach.
I told y'all, if y'all stay with me, everything's gonna make sense.
Okay, I see you.
Y'all have to stay with me. See, sometimes when I'm teaching the way I'm teaching, and I've been doing it for so long that I go here, there, but it's so much I have to disseminate that way, right? And because it's so much information, I don't have a lot of time to read every single thing. So I have to read certain stuff and put it together for y'all to go back and do your research on it, right? This is Marduk. Now we're not talking about anybody else but Marduk right now. Watch this. I just showed you Sargon, Marduk. Let's keep it going. 50 names. Marduk, chief temple at Babylon, where whatever it says, a ziggurat with a shrine of Marduk on the top. Do y'all know what that looked like? A ziggurat? I showed them earlier, right?
Right.
Okay, so here's what it looked like now. So a ziggurat is a pyramid, family, right? Watch this.
Oh, stop. Come on, somebody. Come on, somebody. Okay.
All right. So I'm gonna hide the eye. This is called a ziggurat. It's also known as a truncated pyramid. A truncated pyramid. Truncated pyramid. And this right here, that right there. Do y'all remember what Crom just showed y'all just now earlier? Do y'all not remember where his eye is?
No.
That's his missing eye.
No,
That's his missing eye. America's Babylon, Nimrod, Christmas, the Christmas spirit, all the holy days. That's to Nimrod. And he just showed y'all everybody covering their one eye up. This is the eye.
That's the eye. Could I
Please.
see? Can I share screen again? Let me
Please jump in.
I think I got another one for you. Hold on, let me go to Google. Is Odin missing an eye? It says, let me just read, it's talking in my ear. This is according to Historica.se. The article is titled Odin, the One-Eyed All Father according to the Swedish History Museum. That's a double V, not a U. I know what a V looks like. The article says, or the blurb says, Odin has many names and is the god of both war and death. Half of the warriors who die in battle are taken to his hall of Valhalla. He is the one-eyed All-Father who sacrifices his one eye in order to see everything that happens in the world. One more, Minister, do you mind?
Please.
Does Ra have one eye? Let me see. Does Horus have one eye? Still not. Oh, Eye of Horus. The Eye of Horus, Wajet Eye, or Yud Jet Eye, is a concept and symbol of ancient Egyptian religion that represents well-being, yada, yada, yada. How did Horus lose his eye? This is the same eye that the minister was just talking about. According to the Egyptian myth, Horus lost his eye in a struggle with Seth. I can just let it go right there. Why is everybody missing an eye? Sweden, Egypt, Mesopotamia. This one I got on the dollar bill. Okay.
I'm just, in the words of the great brother Dan Calloway, I'm just here to make y'all think. I'm just here to make y'all think, man.
All right.
I'm just here to make y'all think, man. All right, what was going at real quick? I want to show y'all one more thing. And we're still talking about Marduk. Marduk was also known as the what, y'all? Let y'all read that for yourself.
Solar calf?
Ooh. Oh my God. Oh my God. He was known as the solar calf. Why were they so upset with the Israelites and Aaron? Because he built a what for them?
A golden calf.
All right. There's some other names for him too. Baal. So B-E-L and B-A-L-L are both the same. Much like how Ben, B-E-N, and Bain. Ben Israel, B-E-N, and Bain Israel, meaning son of such and such, all right?
Right.
Baal Marduk. Marduk was thus the chief deity of Babylon Empire during the period of Jewish exile in Babylon. 65th centuries. What's up? It was Marduk whom Cyrus the Great of Persia credited with the inspiration to allow the Jews to return to Jerusalem to rebuild the temple of Yahweh. And we can get on Yahweh too. But Marduk's association with the solar system, largest planet, led indirectly to him being named Jupiter after the Roman god. So Marduk transfigures himself into being Jupiter. Okay?
That's right.
After the Roman god who occupied Marduk's place in the Pantheon. Marduk literally means bull calf of the sun. That's why he built them a golden bull calf.
Wow.
Although he was also the deity of fertility and storm, he was one of the sons of Ea, also called Enki. There we go, Anunnaki people. I know y'all ready for the Anunnaki. We haven't got there yet. See how we have to get to the Anunnaki? The Anus. We haven't got to the Anus yet. We're still dealing with other stuff yet. All right. Called Enki. In the Sumerian myth, the creator craftsman deity, sometimes portrayed as a double-headed, he is later given the title what? Bel or Baal. These are all these deities I'm giving y'all tonight, man. It was referred to simply as Baal in a manner similar to the Canaanite Baal, master or lord, and the Israelites Yahweh. They just gave y'all three different deities. Baal, B-E-L, Canaanite Baal, master, lord, Israelite Yahweh, Lord. After the rise of the city of Babylon, Marduk became identified with the older chief Sumerian deity, Enlil. Now we can get to the Anunnaki. But you just can't say Anunnaki around me and not talk about Marduk or not talk about Sargon. And we can go even farther into the situation and talk about Ishtar. Okay? And you so you can't bring up the Anunnaki without first talking about Marduk and talking about the Akkadians. Okay? And talking about their different pantheons of gods. Now we can get to the sons of El. See, El haven't came into play yet. We haven't seen the word El not one time. But now that we're dealing with the Anunnaki, or now we're dealing with Enlil, now we can get to El. Enki and Enlil and Ea, Princess Ea. Now we can get to the pantheon of the Anunnaki, which we don't have time for tonight. But I want to thank y'all so much for rocking with me through this long situation. I hope you guys learned something tonight. I appreciate y'all. My time is up. I hope you guys run this back, do some studying of your own. I gave you the biblical references. I gave you the names. I gave you something to think about. And it's just information. Think about it. What deity was Moses actually dealing with at that mountain? You're going to look up Mount Sinai, Mount Sin. Okay? Do your research, family. I appreciate y'all. I'm about to get out of here. Hope you guys definitely enjoyed tonight. Shouts out to the brother Crom. Appreciate you, bro. It was amazing. You know, as always, I love having you coming in, adding value, because it really helps me through, you know what I'm saying, through getting through the cipher a little bit. It gets me hyped, you know what I'm saying? But definitely thank everybody for tapping in tonight, man. Another amazing episode. Crom TV Network. You see my backdrop? Hold on. My backdrop. That's the backdrop. Get on it, man. I'm on my Canva shit right now. I'm on my Canva game hard right now. I'm on my Canva game hard, man. So listen, man, appreciate y'all. Another awesome Sunday. Really, y'all got a double dose tonight, man. Shouts out to Inky. Inky, I say Inky. Shouts out to Inky, Crip Jesus, for holding y'all down at 7 o'clock hour. I do apologize. I did have some car trouble, so I couldn't hop on time. But thanks, Brother Crom, for stepping in with me. This is what all about, man. We're family here at Crom TV Network. Anytime y'all see me on the live, y'all already know. Don't believe a word I say. Get your pen and your pad. Take notes. It's been another kick-ass episode, man. Crom TV Network. Appreciate y'all, man. Peace and light. Peace and love.
Hello, everybody. Recording live from somewhere.